So one thing stand out. Nobody, no institution is graduating anybody from any Nigerian higher institution today with the minimum requirement for employment. The digital literacy standard is the requirement for employment in 148 countries. But suddenly, sincerely speaking, no institution, I'm repeating it, no institution of higher learning is graduating anybody into the labor market with the minimum requirement for employment. Despite the fact that far back 2016, the Conference of Higher Education Accreditation, Nigeria is accessibility to it, already encouraged the institutions to bridge the gap between the academia and the industry by ensuring that students graduate into the labor market with skills relevant today. But here in Nigeria, you still see our institutions claiming that once the exam is not approved by the Senate or whatever, that it cannot be administered on students. That's supposed to have gone with 20th century. So there is need for us to actually address the main issue. How can we get our people to be employed?
So what are those digital skills that they need to get?
Thank you very much. For instance now, everybody is supposed to have that foundational skills. Digital literacy, the ICT standard, right? Then after that, you need to be 4C compliant. The 4C simply means, communications, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking.
Okay.
The 4Cs.
So we begin our conversation today taking a quote from William Henry Gates III, an American business magnate, software developer, investor, author, and philanthropist. He is a co-founder of Microsoft, along with his late childhood friend Paul Allen. He once said, "If you get health, then you have opportunity for literacy. Health first, then literacy. Once you have literacy, then you have a chance to bring in the new tools of communication. Let people reach out and have access to the latest advances." All right. So our second quote is from Michael K. Powell, an American attorney and lobbyist who served as the 21st chair of the Federal Communications Commission from 2001 to 2005. He once said, "More and more job listings are exclusively available online, and as technology evolves, nearly every occupation now requires a basic level of digital literacy with web navigation, email access, and participation in social media." Okay, great. Our last quote is from George Couros, an innovative teaching, learning, and leadership consultant, and he's also a speaker, a public speaker. He once said, "Technology will not replace great teacher, but technology in the hands of a great teacher can be transformational." Absolutely spot on. All right. Let's see how all of this could relate to what we will be discussing today. Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We are reaching you from Captain's Television Studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. Now, digital literacy refers to an individual's ability to find, evaluate, and communicate information through typing and other media on various digital platforms. It is evaluated by an individual's grammar, composition, typing skills, and ability to produce text, images, audio, and designs using technology. Now, do you know the examples and the significance of digital literacy in skill acquisition, even for your kids? I'm sure a lot of people don't. And that's not all. Like they say, the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. So you get to appreciate the significance of digital literacy when you get better understanding of it way beyond the definition. That's what I actually meant. Now, we have got the right guest to help us do justice to that topic of digital literacy and skills. Our guest on the show today is Dr. Niran Oyekale. He is the Executive Chairman, Commit Technology and Consult Limited, and he's also a board member at Digital Bridge Institute. He is a technology expert. He will definitely school us on digital literacy and skills in the next 60 minutes. You don't want to miss this part of the show. Do join us again. If you've just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from Captain's Television Studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you're right on time for the interview. Our guest on the show today is Dr. Niran Oyekale. He is the Executive Chairman, Commit Technology and Consult Limited, and he is also a board member at the Digital Bridge Institute. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you.
Just said it. The name is Dr. Niran Oyekale. Niran Oyekale is a digital literacy advocate well beyond the shore of Nigeria, covering the West African as well as the entire continent, serving as a consultant to ILO, International Labour Organization, in the development of African youth for decent jobs in the digital economy. Serving as a consultant to the National Board for Technical Education, assisting them with the development of emerging skills in ICT in all the 633 regulated institutions at MBTE.
Okay.
As well as supporting or assisting Nigeria through the NITDA, National Information Technology Development Agency, to develop the first ever national digital literacy framework.
Okay.
And so
we're definitely going to get straight to that part of during the course of the show. Now, help us to understand, get better understanding. What does it actually mean for someone to be a digital literate, and walk us through the many examples of that?
Okay. Digital literacy is the addition to the 20th century education system. The STEM that most of us pass through in the course of the 20th century serves as foundation to the 21st century education system. And so digital literacy is the addition. You see, you have the STEM as the foundation, then you now have digital literacy.
Okay, so sorry to butt in there. For the benefit of our viewers who don't understand what STEM is, as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Okay. Right. Please go ahead.
So digital literacy is simply on how to use the computer and the internet, but it's more than I can just use a software or whatever. I can use my phone, I can use my laptop, to involving specialized skills that has to do with office productivity, functionality on jobs, and so on and so forth.
So what are the examples of digital literacy?
For you to be, you see, you can liken digital literacy to a means of communications. For instance, every era has come with a way of communicating. Like in Nigeria here, we are conversant with English language as a medium of interaction. So those languages, the English language, the French, the Spanish, and other languages of 20th century have been relegated to 20th century. So the means of communication in today's world that everybody seems to understand and cope with is digital literacy. So for you not to be digitally literate is for you not to be able to interact, to communicate, to engage with people beyond your local area.
So what makes me a digital literate?
Okay, for you to be digitally literate, there is a standard. Okay. You see, what we are talking about, 21st century has come with universality, that everybody in the world is on this common platform now. So the language that people speak, which is digital literacy, has come with a standard. And the standard of this means of communication is the IC3 digital literacy. I will delve into that as we progress in the course of this. But everybody should be digitally literate. Digital literacy, the IC3 standard, is now the criterion for employment, unlike those days where you must have a credit pass in English or mathematics before you can be considered for anything. So now you must be digitally literate. You must be IC3 certified. That is the proof of your attainment of that standard. For anybody to be digitally literate, it is expected that that person, has that certification. Let me take you that the memory lane, that for you to be able to, if you drive a car, now you're driving a car and you are accosted you're stopped by a traffic officer, a police officer. For you to be able to prove that you are a driver when asked, Are you a driver or not? You don't need to explain. All you need to do is dip hands into your pocket or purse and show what?
The driver's license.
Your driver's license. Because that is the proof of skill attainment that you can actually drive. And you've passed through the series of tests that one will expect to have passed through before having that license, which is the proof. So for you to claim digital literacy today, you need to have that IC3 digital literacy certification, and that is the global standard for digital literacy.
So now walk us through some of the main digital literacy skills that are meant for especially jobs and employers that they're expecting to see. So does it actually mean that I must get a certification before I can be liable to get a job? Is that what it means?
Yes, exactly. That is just it too. Before now, right, by the time you are dropping your pen at the end of your last exams in the university or tertiary institution, you have employers queuing up to sign you, right? Because they are sure that you have that proof, which is the certificate that the school actually, issued at the completion of your course of study, right? So now today, for you to be employable or to be considered for employment, you need that proof. And that's, let me tell you this, that you have about 42.5% of Nigerian youths unemployed, right? You have 21% underemployed. That's after the last quarter of 2020 as released by the NBS, right? But how will you reconcile this? That these people, 63.5% out of 65% youth population that we always boast of. But in faraway America, 69 out of 100 vacancies declared must come from outside America. 69. In Japan, 88 must come from outside Japan, right? The skills shortage globally today has never been this high, averaging 54%, rising from 30% in 2010 to 69% before the end of last year. How will we reconcile this? One thing stand out. Nobody, no institution is graduating anybody from any Nigerian higher institution today with the minimum requirement for employment. The digital literacy standard is the requirement for employment in 148 countries. But suddenly, sincerely speaking, no institution, I'm repeating it, no institution of higher learning is graduating anybody into the labor market with the minimum requirement for employment. Despite the fact that far back 2016, the Conference of Higher Education Accreditation, Nigeria is a signatory to it, already encouraged the institutions to bridge the gap between the academia and the industry by ensuring that students graduate into the labor market with skills relevant today. But here in Nigeria, you still see our institutions claiming that once the exam is not approved by the Senate or whatever, that it cannot be administered on students. That's supposed to have gone with 20th century. So there is need for us to actually address the main issue. How can we get our people to be, employable?
So what are those digital skills that they need to get?
Thank you very much. For instance now, everybody is supposed to have that foundational skills. Digital literacy, the IC3 standard, right? Then after that, you need to be 4C compliant. The 4C's simply means, communications, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking.
Okay.
The 4C's. There's a program called the Communication Skills for Business. Takes care of that. That is number 2. Then number 3 is everybody, whether you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to be an employee, the fact that you need the digital literacy, the IC3 standard, you need the communication skills for business, right? You need to have an idea of who is an entrepreneur. How do you recognize opportunity, right? How do you start a business? Sales and marketing. How do you run a business? Financial management. You need to be able to render your books in the language everybody understands, right? So when you have these 3 as the foundation, then what will now take you need 2 specific career-specific skills. For instance, if I'm an engineer now, you go the Autodesk lane, and the users are the professional. There you have the AutoCAD, the Revit architecture, 3D Max, Maya Fusion 3D and Inventor. If you're in IT, you go either into cyber security at the users level, then you go professional there, then you can move to IT specialist that has a combo of the likes of databases, the data analytics, you have cloud computing, software development, you have Python, Java, and all kind of programs there at the users professional level. Like for instance now, Annabelle is into broadcasting. Then we'll be encouraged to go the Adobe way. The Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro, Flash.
So there's a package for everyone.
There is a career part. That is what we've not been able to identify with in Nigeria. And sincerely speaking, we need to do something very quickly. Why? By 2025, there'll be job crisis. So much work, then few people with competency to handle the job. We need to move fast. There's no time again. And that's why I'm happy that this government is actually moving in the direction with this National Digital Literacy Framework. And when you look at the medium-term National Development Plan that addresses the area of education and the human capital development, then you give thumb up to government that they are already moving in the right direction. We just hope that the implementation will support this.
We'll definitely talk about that again. So now, I've actually seen some people when you ask them, okay, I need you to do something with do you have any idea on how to use your MX Excel or MX Word, and then they tell you no idea completely. So does that mean that person is a complete digital illiterate?
Sincerely speaking, even before, you don't need to ask, because the word has gone, has gone beyond that level. All you need to subject that person to simple, baseline assessment to actually measure, establish the proficiency of such person in digital literacy. Unfortunately, Nigeria does not have such record. So, and that is why we are not getting it right. We've spent so much money to empower our people, but what has been the result? One, how will you, Annabelle, let me ask you this. How will you improve on something you have not measured? Is it possible? It's not possible. It's not possible. There's never been a time that we have submitted ourselves to this baseline assessment. We only assume that, oh, Annabelle, you are looking good, so you should be digitally literate. We should put you on Python. We should put you on Excel. No. There is need for us to establish that. The National Bureau of Statistics should make it a point of duty to work with relevant agencies of government to ensure that they have that data for Nigeria. It is affecting us. Nigeria cannot continue to be a dumping ground to programs that are not relevant anywhere in the world again. So we have been taken advantage of, and this must stop.
And so does that mean that you have to start with must it be the tertiary institution or from the primary level? Where do you actually start from?
We need a multiple approach to it. One, we should not allow those that are about to leave the schools for the labor market to leave without equipping them with these relevant skills.
That's from the tertiary institution?
That is at the tertiary education level.
Okay.
That's number one. While we now integrate that, what they need, we integrate it into at the entry level. You understand me? One, at the point of leaving. Now, anybody that is to leave immediately now must not be allowed to. We must equip them. And those coming in, we must ensure we take care of them. Then we now start with the early child care education to senior secondary education. So that may take like 15 years, but we don't have such years to joke with. So when we start with the early child education at GS1, entering to the secondary school, at the junior secondary school level, we have programs to actually take care of them. Immediately from there, that we terminate or hence at GS3. Then those that are in SS1 now, we have a program that can take care of them. In fact, the best way to do what exactly the government should do is to look at digital literacy assessment of proficiency to be part of the JAMB examination at JAMB.
That's
yes.
deep.
No. All they need is just a 45 hours program that we equip them for that. So we cannot wait for 15 years again or else we'll be left behind. And we cannot afford to shut down. It's better we restart immediately. Multiple approach. We start from early child care, at the GS1 entry point, at SS1, at JAM, then at leaving the institution.
How long does it actually take?
The first program, it depends on which level. Which one are you talking about?
Okay, let's start from when you're leaving the tertiary institution.
Okay, when you're leaving the tertiary institution, the first one is just about 45 hours. Everything can be accomplished within 6 months. Yes, 45 hours, but not 45 hours as in 2 days, no.
Okay.
So 45 hours contact session, then you go for remediation, you go for the certification, examination, go for retake and all those things.
So in all, like 6 months?
Like within 6 months. Sincerely speaking, if we want to actually do a good work, in 6 months, we can achieve that for Nigeria. Okay,
great. So now, are there tools that one needs to work with and to gain mastery of it? And then how can a novice get digital, either at fresh or via enhanced learning?
Wow. Let me give you this. Nobody is a novice this time around. We are all on the same platform. Because the experience, the result of this baseline assessment conducted across Nigeria actually revealed that we are on
at par.
We are at par. Nobody is there. A typical example is a 500 participant baseline assessment conducted around Nigeria, and you have just 1% scaling through. You can imagine. So we need to restart. That is just it.
Okay.
We need to restart. We need to conduct that baseline assessment. The baseline assessment will serve as the basis for policy formulation, so that we can actually implement to get results. We cannot continue to do things our own way, right? Skills development, digital economy, digitalization of records, whatever we are doing today, everything has gone digital, including teaching. Do you know that?
What are the main tools that we need?
The main tools we need, one, everybody should be encouraged to have their own personal laptops, right? That is just it. The internet access, that's it.
Oh, really?
That's it.
Okay. All right, now, so let's bring it home to Nigeria. Does Nigeria actually have a digital agenda? And do we have a healthy digital ecosystem? Let's start with that for Nigeria.
Okay, digital agenda, yes. We have the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy. We have the e-government master plan. We have the Judiciary IT policy. We have the Bureau of Public Service Reforms. It's a document of government. We have every year the National Council on Communication and Digital Economies have their regular meetings. We have the newly presented National Digital Literacy Framework. All this pointed to Nigeria readiness or intention to actually, move.
Is it satisfactory enough for you?
Sincerely speaking, they have wonderful documents. Wonderful documents. I just mentioned the medium-term National Development Plan. If you look at this, fantastic documents. And but I believe with all this, getting the right people doing the right thing, then we get there. We have documents that shows we actually prepared, we are ready to actually transform or transit into the digital era. We have it.
All right, great. So let's talk about the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy 2022 to 2030 that you talked about. How will that 10-year policy help to transform Nigeria from resource to knowledge-based economy?
Then the pillar 2 is what you are talking about. The pillar 2 of that of the NDEP, which has to do with skills. Anything you want to talk of today, if the skill is not addressed, the skill gap is not addressed, sincerely speaking, we aren't going anywhere. And that is why NIDA has taken a step forward with this National Digital Literacy Framework. With that framework, I want to delve more into that because that is the most recent, and it captures that area that can hand Nigeria so much money most countries, some countries of the world, advanced countries, actually export knowledge now. You understand? So, and they are having so much, return on the investment. So, what I'm talking about really is we look at this National Digital Literacy Framework. It is a framework that has presented Nigerians with a platform to developing Nigerians to be at par with the rest of the world. What do I mean? For instance, before now, we don't have a curriculum, no content. Mention you want to do any training, every dictionary becomes the trainer, right? What have we gotten? The result is what we are seeing now. But the National Digital Literacy Framework already adopted the DigComp, the European framework for Nigeria. That is a plus, a very nice one. And aside that, the National Digital Literacy Framework is pushing or sending an executive bill, or is initiating an executive bill to the National Assembly on the need to have a Digital Literacy Act. That is a good one. That bill or act will actually establish the National Digital Literacy Institute, the National Digital Literacy Council, the National Digital Literacy Fund, and the National Digital Literacy Mobilization Office at the Presidency. So these are all steps in the right direction. And it is contained in that document too, that digital literacy become the criterion for graduation at the tertiary education level. And the need for us to integrate digital literacy and skills right from early childcare to postgraduate level. You see, it makes digital literacy become the criterion for employment and promotion, despite the fact that that has always been the case since 2017, when the National Council on Digital Economy actually approved and recommended to government that digital literacy becomes this criterion for employment and promotion in Nigeria, especially the public service. So we can see that we are ready, we are willing, and the government has put every machinery in motion to come up with this document. All we need to do now is to ensure the appropriate implementation.
We're going to stay right on that question and then know how really ready are we as Nigerians to get right on with it and then hit the street. But that's after this time out. Do join us again. We know that we've already heard of policies, so many policies in Nigerian programs, the Vision 2020, Vision what, and then you just begin to ask what happened to them. So how sustainable are these policies and programs that you rolled out?
Yeah, because it addresses the needs of today. So we all endeavor, we have to work together to ensure we get them sustained. That is just it. Because we cannot leave everything to government. Everybody has gotten a role to play. Myself, as a consultant, yourself as a media personnel, the parent at home, the civil servant in the office, those professionals out there, everybody, we must work as a team to ensure that we get to where we're supposed to be. The solution to global crisis, global scale crisis of 2025, so the solution to it rests on our head as a country, because we can boast of being the most populous black nation in the world. Our youth, population stands out 65%. So we don't have any excuse. Sincerely speaking, we don't even have any excuse to have anybody on the street there without a job. When jobs are all over everywhere, we don't have it. All we need to ensure that, let us ensure the implementation of all these policies.
If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from Captain's Television Studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you've actually missed out on a lot, but then you can still join in the conversation. Our guest on the show today is Dr. Niran Oyekale. We've been talking about digital literacy. All right, now before we went on that break, we're actually breaking down the importance of digital literacy and how much Nigerians are ready. But then some people will tell you that, as Nigerians, we're very good at creating policies, programs, but then implementation, evaluation, monitoring now becomes the challenge. So now with NIDA, I know you have things to do with NIDA. So if you have to rate and scale them, are we 99.9% ready to go digital in Nigeria?
No. One cannot say we are 99.9. We have just started. we should be thankful, we should be hopeful that the possibility of shutting down is now remote. We are far from it, but we are saying we need to restart. We have come up, the government has come up with the National Digital Literacy Framework after the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy, right? And that is a pointer to the fact that we will not shut down. But what we need to do, the document is there and they are making effort to ensure its implementation. But I just want to place it on record that as we are a country running on no standard. There is need for us to urgently and quickly establish a standard for digital literacy. That will give us, we make whatever, any form of training we are undertaking in the area of digital literacy to terminate in what is expected to be a proof of competency. It is universal. We need that. Then number two, there is need for us to immediately put all machinery of government in place to ensure that we embark on this baseline assessment to establish the proficiency of Nigerians on digital literacy. Number three, we need to, after that, that result will actually necessitate the review of whatever policy we have on ground, the existing policy, because most of us will be shocked with the result of such a baseline assessment. These policies, yes, they are good, but they were formulated without knowing the status, the status quo, what we are, where we are in this specialized skill areas. That is, then we now, after the policy formulation, we now sit down and say, okay, how do we map this into our education system? Aside that, how do we map this into our continuous development program? How do we map this into our professional,
even into entrepreneurship.
We talk of even the professional qualification examinations, the JAMB, the COREN, the Teacher Association Council of Nigeria exams, teacher qualification exams, the ICANN. You understand me?
That means you're supposed to carry everyone along. But then that we already have some people. I'm trying to be very careful with my words right now. You have some people that they don't even know how to make use of their pads. They have people who have to type for them. Some people are not even used to computers, laptop. They only know about how to make use of typewriters. So how do you actually include those generation of people in this?
That is it. Once it is the government can come up with the standard, everybody is striving to belong to 21st century, but everybody wants it. But the providers have been, I want to mind my choice of words. So people have not actually been, exposed to the right kind of content, the curriculum, training programs and all those things. So, but by the time the government starts with the implementation of some of these, especially the National Digital Literacy Framework, all those ones we brought onto the same platform, then we now run it on. I told you, nobody is above the other. We are almost at par with one another. We will not shut down. We need to restart. So in the course of restarting, we need to have baseline assessment. In the course of restarting, we need to have a standard that will tell us who actually is digitally literate or not. We need to develop a skill development portfolio that will show clearly the career progression, the direction, certification pathway that every individual will have to take. Now, you see, a teacher may say, okay, wants to go this way. Somebody will just say, because everybody is running Excel, I want to learn Excel. Everybody is doing everybody is talking about AI, I want to go into AI. Everybody is talking about cybersecurity. No. We need to be guided. So there is need for our country to have such portfolio where everybody can go and pick whatever
that suits them.
Okay,
now so we know that we've already heard of policies, so many policies in Nigerian programs, the Vision 2020, Vision what, and then you just begin to ask what happened to them. So how sustainable are these policies and programs that you rolled out?
Yeah, because it addresses the needs of today. So we will all endeavor. We have to work together to ensure we get them sustained. That is just it. Because we cannot leave everything to government. Everybody has gotten a role to play. Myself, as a consultant, yourself as a media personnel, the parent at home, the civil servant in the office, those professionals out there, everybody, we must work as a team to ensure that we get to where we're supposed to be. The solution to global scale crisis of 2025, so the solution to it rests on our head as a country, because we can boast of being the most populous black nation in the world. Our youth, population stands out 65%. So we don't have any excuse. Sincerely speaking, we don't even have any excuse to have anybody on the street there without a job. When jobs are all over everywhere, we don't have it. All we need to ensure that, let us ensure the implementation of all these policies. They are good. Let us take note of the shortcomings they may be subjected to, they may have. Let us ensure we have this baseline assessment conducted as urgently as possible. Let us ensure that we have the standard established.
All right.
So once we have that, like for instance now, the teacher will need 8 skills to teach with technology. The pandemic taught us the lesson of our life, that everybody was groping in the dark, coming up with various solutions to ensure the teachers can actually do what they are not trained or equipped to do, to teach online. What are these skills? 1, digital literacy, IC 3D standard. 2, 21st century learning design. You talk of Make Code as 3, OneNote 4, Minecraft 5. You talk of Office 6, Office 365 7, and the Windows 8. Every teacher needs these 8 skills complete before they can actually teach with technology. In Nigeria, as we speak, we have less than 2,000 teachers that have such skills, and when you look out for them, they will no longer be in this country, because they become hot cakes that other countries of the world, we entice them with their this forex, or what do you call it, and they are hazard there. But another thing I want us to know, I don't believe in brain drain, because we are supposed to service the entire world. We should be talking of labor mobility and encourage it. In fact, the government should be happy to do that, because for every individual that leaves the shore of Nigeria returns money for every blessed day, if not every blessed month, if not day. So this is something that we should promote. Our economy cannot absorb everybody if we train them for our need. No. So that is why we need to look more of training them for universal need. Okay. So as to actually save the world from running into crisis by 2025.
Now you talked about how all of us needs to be included in all of this. Now, so what is the relationship between the government and the private tech people? Are the government participating enough? Because you actually said that we should not leave it in the hands of the government, but at least are they participating enough?
The government is doing very well. Let me put it very well. But I want to appeal to my colleagues, the consultants, the private people, that enough is enough. We have folded our hands for so long a time, and we are seeing the result. The government is there to formulate the policy. We need to reach out to the government to be able to formulate relevant policies. I just don't know how I will leave somebody to formulate the policy around what I am doing, and will be able to capture what I am doing effectively well if I don't reach out to government. So we have folded our hands. We are now seeing the result. So the private sector should do more by reaching out to government and support government in whatever they want to do. That is the best way to go. And that is what I will advise our people to start immediately, do more of it, so that Nigeria can be better, and ourselves will be able to sleep with all our eyes closed.
Now you see we all of us. Yeah. Now let us break it down into bits and pieces, because a lot of people, especially for Nigerians, they're always about what's in it for me. What is there? What do I have to gain? Now, so for the benefit of such people, how can digital literacy improve the life and the lot of an average Nigerian? Just an average Nigerian, especially for people who live in the hinterlands, in the suburbs, and in the rural areas.
You see, what digital literacy can transform an individual to may even be better than what Western education transforms the lives of those people to in those days.
Oh, really?
Yes, because you can see the son of a farmer rising to become the MD of a conglomerate. you can see the
daughter of
Akarasela becoming the originator of or inventor of things that are actually changing life. So if the only thing that have brought the people of the children of the downtrodden to be at par with those of what we call the money bags of those days is education. So what are we talking about? If you are adequately equipped with relevant skills today, you don't need to even look for jobs. You'll be invited. That's just it. For instance, Mike Wright has been looking for digital marketers for over 9 months now, 14 people. He hasn't gotten them all, right? So if the son of that bricklayer has these skills, what stops that person from working over there? You understand? But somebody like myself, will I be here today if not for Western education and my incursion into consulting in the digital sector or technology sector? You understand? So the transformation cannot be estimated. It is enormous. The opportunities are there. And remember, I told you 54% the skill shortage globally. So who knows where an individual will be once you have these skills complete. That is just it. So the story is the story of those days that we start to experience or see going forward when skills appropriate or relevant to these jobs are impacted on Nigerians.
Now you talked about the for education sector, you talked about from the early stage to the primary and then the tertiary and then leaving. So now for that sector, that's the education sector, how do we create digital skills or digital skill hub across board?
Oh, that is thank you very much for bringing this up. You see, hub, sincerely yours, digital skill center, as far as Nigeria today is concerned, are merely structures. What makes them to be what they should be is missing. In how many of these hubs do you have a certification platform? None. Very, very rare. For instance, in the entire northern region, how many certification platform centers do you have? For instance, the Certiport Authorized Testing Center that has examine or certify people in over 1,000 skill areas can only be found in states like Bauchi, like Kaduna State, then Abuja, then no any other place. So if I have my money today and I want to write any of these AutoCAD exams, AI exams, I want to write a cloud computing exams, all this, I have to travel from wherever I am. If
to these 3 states.
To those states. You understand? And what is happening? There is no state in Nigeria that cannot claim to have built a digital literacy center or computer training center or hub or whatever. But they are just mere buildings. There's a particular state in Nigeria now, they want to have 19 or 39 digital literacy centers. They're just mere building because there's no provision for what makes it a center where people can actually go and have access to skills and get certified. Because when you don't have proof of skill attainment, you don't have anything, and whoever is supporting you have not done anything. So there is need for us to place emphasis on, yes, the building, yes, very important.
There you get the expertise.
The expertise, I mean, this time you need to have this certification platform, in the centers. Without it, training to certification will be very, very impossible, and that has always been our practice. We are now living witnesses to the result of not training to certification.
Oh wow. All right, now let's talk about the menacing issue of insecurity, and you talk about, okay, before we talk about insecurity, let's talk about the importance of digital skills in relationship with digital entrepreneurship and innovations. Talk to us about that.
Yes, I've actually addressed that. Whatever you are into today, it has been, how do I put it, disrupted by technology. So for you to have your productivity enhanced, you need technology. For you to be proficient in what you are doing, you need technology. And I've just mentioned that the kind of training programs that an individual will have to belong, right? So for you to be an entrepreneur today, one, You must be digitally literate with proof of being digitally literate, the IC3 standard. Then you go into programs like the ESB and others. You understand? So by the time you have that, you must have proof of skill attainment. Ask for it. Where is the certification? If you are being invited for a training program, go online and search whether that program is universal.
Okay.
Because skill is now universal. It's the currency of the globe. The standard is the same all over everywhere. The competition is not between Annabelle and myself. We are Nigerians. The competition is between Nigerians and the rest of the
Globally.
world. So we need to be on the same platform with them. We need to develop with them. We need to grow with them. We need to speak the same language with them. And that is when we can continue to be at the lead as the giant of Africa.
Aha, great. All right, now let's talk about the menacing issue of insecurity, internet fraud, that's the Yahoo boys, and then all other crimes, social crimes. Now, are there ways that digital literacy or skills can help to combat all of these crimes?
You see, we blame ourselves for whatever we are experiencing today because we've not guided people, rightly. That is just it. And I cannot actually exonerate myself from it. How will you imagine somebody that has a paid job in America, working from Nigeria, have time to take to crime? Is it possible? No. Let us equip this. How will you graduate somebody to the labor market without the minimum requirement for employment? And you expect frustration not to set in and that person not to misbehave. Right? So how will you allow somebody to take to the negativity of digital technology? Then we blame ourselves for not guiding them on our right. You see, when you train your child growing up, you have respite at old age. We've not been able to do this. There is no lifestyle that any young Nigerians chooses to live today that person does not deserve of living such lifestyle if he has gone to school and graduated at the tertiary education level. There is no lifestyle that person shouldn't be able to live that he chooses to live. You understand me? So let us, we need to review the curriculum. And if we do that, we'll be on the right path.
So there are ways that you can actually use them to combat some of these crimes. Because I hear you talk about cybersecurity or something.
Yes, now, see, what have I just said? That there will be peace if everybody is gainfully employed. Either you choose to be an entrepreneur or you choose to be an employee. If you are relevant, I don't see why I should take to crime. Because I don't even have such time.
So in a nutshell, you're saying we should prevent before curing.
Yes, there will be peace if we are able to equip the younger ones with relevant skills that will fit them into today's job. There are so much opportunities and they need to key into it. Okay. So if we continue to allow them to doing things their own way, we continue to get this result, right? That is just it.
All right, now let's talk about how about obtaining an international passport globally, or digitally rather? Is that actually doable? Because we know that Ghanaians, at least we know that in Ghana you can actually get your passport anywhere you are. You can get your passport digitally through technology. So is Nigeria actually looking forward to that opportunity where people can actually obtain their passport digitally and seamlessly? That's the word.
Well, sincerely speaking, you see, Nigeria is just doing everything right now. You have the name. You have the name. With name, that name is attached to all anything you are doing at immigration, at your licensing, your all this. So it is possible, and we are moving towards that. Anywhere you are, as a Nigerian, you have access to everything you want to have access to. That is just it. The international passport is just one of it. Beyond that, your identity matters most. All those things are just a means of identification, and we have linked Nigerians seriously linking every information about an individual together, so that you don't need to you are in the bank. Yes, you have your name. You are here, you have your name. You are there, you have your name.
Now, taking a cue from where you just actually land, because our time is far spent now, it actually means that we actually need to use a lot of data, of which we don't even have luxury of that in Nigeria. And now, when it's difficult to harmonize different data. Now, you talked about the NIN, you talked about BVN when you get to the bank, but then it's been difficult to harmonize some of this numbers together. You have the name, the driver's license, the BVN, and all of that. So now, how do we actually do that digitally? Harmonize all of these numbers, even with the NIN to SIM linkage, which we are still even having issues with up until now.
So, you see, we are even there, not we are getting there.
Ah, really?
Just now, because you see, the difficulty lies in the people born before NIN, but not again with people born after NIN. You understand? So you should expect this, that the records of how many years ago, now to be collected almost within how many weeks or months, right? But it's going forward now. Yes, we may have issues coming to where we are, but going to where we're supposed to be, there will not be such issues again. The government is doing work, and people are supporting, including yourself. We are supporting government to achieve results.
All right, before we round up now, since we're talking about the future, which technology is the new crude, it is the future. Now let's talking about how we can take multiple steps. Let's start from now, taking multiple steps. Since we are planning to have a national census anytime soon, is it actually possible for Nigeria to digitalize its census?
Of course, now you have biometric system at work. You know, informations are being captured, election results has been transmitted. Informations, you don't have difficulty with getting information as it used to be. You agree with me? So the issue of census is just, one of those things that Nigeria has come up to terms with, that's come up with skills. And as we, the beginning of this interview, as we talk more on the need for us to have a relevant capability built in Nigerians. And before we start the census, I know the government will have taken enough steps. Individual will have taken steps to ensure that we have people on hand that have requisite skills to actually man the operations of whatever I want to do going forward. Census is just one of them. We cannot do without, digitizing the process. We believe in the past, and God forbid, we have moved out of that dark era. So we are making serious progress, and with those policies of government and with the support of private sector coming in now, and people no longer folding their hands to look at what will happen at the end of the day, because we've all burnt our fingers, we've learned our lessons, then this country, will be very, very great, anytime soon.
Okay, so we'd like to get your last word. In the last 60 minutes, we've been talking about digital literacy. So just help us break it down in bits and pieces in the next, just in 1 minute. Because you talked about we don't need to fold our hands. Yes. So you still have some of the youth who are in the Jackpot movement. They just want to leave. They're not ready to learn or do anything in Nigeria. So talk to Nigerians, especially to such people, why we need to get on this train and then hit the road.
Thank you very much. You see, one, we need to re-strategize. That is very, very important. I want to tell those that are Japan that, see, if they acquire the skills right in Nigeria, it's cheaper. Because by the time they get to where they are going and they want to be relevant, they still need to come into reality, into terms with the skills we are talking about now. Because nobody is even talking of anything local again, because skills is now universal, and the standards are universal, acceptable all over everywhere. So, but this is these are my words. So, one, we need to have a standard for digital literacy. It will help us a lot in putting our homes in order. Number two, we need to have that baseline assessment. We need that data. It is very, very important. Without it, it will be difficult to implement policies, to even formulate or review policies. Number 3 is that we need to ensure that we work with especially the medium-term national development plan of the federal government. It is very, very important. Then number 5 is that we should ensure that all professional bodies, addresses the issue on ground and integrate digital literacy exams or proficiency in digital literacy to include them in their professional certification examination. It is very, very important without leaving any profession behind. And by so doing, Nigeria will bounce back and continue to be at the lead in this continent. Thank you very much.
It's been a wonderful time having this talk with you, Dr. Niran Oyekale. Thank you so much for schooling us on digital literacy and skills.
Thank you very much. And I'll be willing to come back to do justice to other areas when invited next time.
Most definitely. All right, viewers, I'm sure you must have been rightly educated, entertained, and informed. We have been chatting with Dr. Niran Oyekale. He is the executive chairman, Commit Technology and Consult Limited, and he's also a board member at the Digital Bridge Institute. He is a technology expert, and it's been a wonderful time here on The Conversation. Like I said, I'm sure you must have been rightly educated, entertained, and informed. So you want to take the right step at the right direction immediately. I'll see you again next time. Keep watching The Conversation, because you never know who my next guest will be and what my next topic will be all about. Till I come your way again from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Annabelle Oji. God bless Nigeria.